Hello, welcome to the X Fighters Season 4 and Season 5 casting call, paid casting call. I have a number of characters here who do need some voices, and I'm hoping to get them filled. So, thank you all for the support over the last little while for this series. It's been quite a long process. Just getting the writing done took a number of years, and there's still quite a lot of work left before episodes are released. But in the meantime, this casting call will go ahead, and things are progressing at a consistent pace. So more updates from me to come over the next few months. So let's go over the rules, because we haven't done this in quite a number of years. Open characters, status, open. All of these characters can currently be auditioned for. However, if I were to turn one of these to closed, the character has been voiced, so do not apply to these ones. You may audition for as many open roles as you want. Roles marked as complete are closed and no longer open for auditions. Accents in bold are a prerequisite, so as you will see here, Baitar, I have a broad Australian accent that I think would be quite fitting for the character. However, it's not in bold. So if you have an American accent, a Canadian accent, if you have an Italian accent, why not? Just go and apply to these characters, and as long as you fit the general voice type, which is a lot more important, the gruff, lax, and mild-pitched, or mid-pitched, voice type here for Baitar, you have a much better chance of getting on board than someone with, say, the broad Australian accent and not the correct general voice type. Pretty self-explanatory. Roles marked as in progress should not be auditioned for, but could reopen if an issue arises. So this is in the case of some roles currently being voice acted. Someone's been cast, let's say. They're going through the process, and something happens, they're no longer able to complete the work, and I have to reopen the audition for that character. That may happen. Using the two test lines for a character marked as open, so the test lines are here. For Baitar, let's say I have a stoic line and a cheeky line, so these are the two test lines. Record at least 2 takes for each line. Not only 1, I want 2, and they must be different. They don't have to be extremely different, but I want to see a different interpretation on the lines, a different emphasis at a different point in the line, and see how you can navigate those things. Each take should be cleaned. Okay, this is a good point. You can hear the audio that I have right now. Your audio should not be any worse than what you're hearing at the moment. There's a lot of echo in this room. It's completely open, and I do have some acoustic panels in front of me, but if I do any voice acting, I put a blanket overhead, or I go in another room in my closet, let's say, where I have proper sound treatment. This is open. I do have some mouths, so it's not as bad as it could be, but it's quite terrible. So background noise should be removed. Static should be removed. Everything should be normalized. Do not have quiet audio. Do not record on a phone. Record on a proper microphone. And do not have a lot of dead space. So lines should be cut with minimal space before and after the line. I'll show an example in a very, very brief moment. A small buffer at the end to avoid clipping is fine. Do not add voice effects to the audio. Record on a mono channel. This is extremely important because the mono wave signed 16-bit PCM format is the only one that Ren'Py, the visual novel engine that I'm using, can support. Do note that I have BG Civilian 8 to 12 to cast. This means I'm looking for, let's say 10 different people with varying voices, varying accents, varying voice types to record let's see here. There's only a single line. This is the exception. Most have 2 lines. This one only gets 1. A terrified suffering, various sounds of pain and pleading for it to stop. What to stop the pain? Or pleading for general help. This is let's say I'm like, oh gosh, I want to be this guy, and I'm just going to click on this here, and I go, ouch, I'm in suffering pain. That's the line. Not a good line. Will likely get rejected. But let's use that as an example. All right, let's listen to this again now. Here, and I go, ouch, I'm in suffering pain. Quite terrible. This will require a lot of cleanup, but I'm not going to worry about that. For now, I just want to make sure that things are okay. Gender, any. Fantastic. Parent age, any. Fantastic. Line count, 1. Do note that this is the only role that is not paid, by the way. This is more so just because I have so many here to cast. The accent can be any, fantastic, and the line is a free-for-all. So for the most part, I am following all the instructions, but I'm looking for something that's a bit more serious, so this will not get cast. So I want to do Victor here. So all his lines are in Spanish, so clearly I have to at least be able to read this, otherwise it's going to not make much sense. There's a cue here. Emotional is what I'm looking for. Rough, snarky, low pitch. Okay, I won't worry about that too much. I'm not a good fit for this character, so I'm not going to cast myself. So this is just an example here. I'd say I'd just go for it. A little bit of emotion, whatnot, semi-serious, add a bit of comedy to it, perhaps. Hijo de... En serio, con tanto de chuchingo de malo. Podría cerrar mis puertas si quisiera y dejar al campo hasta el fin de mis días. Let's say that's my audition here. Now, you'll note that I did go quite high up here on the peaks. One thing that's challenging when you do something like that is I have this here very low volume and then very high volume. Am I peaking? It's potentially the case. If that's the case, I would change the gain on my thing, or at least you can go here and manually change the gain. I believe on Audacity, you just go here, recording volume. You can change that up if you're hitting the peaks. Unfortunately, this is an instant disqualification. This is just the wrong dialect and the wrong accent. I forgot to change my pronunciation of cerrar here, and I pronounced it more so in the Spanish way with the theta. So I guess that's my bias from having been more experienced with that dialect of the language, but that's incorrect. Hijo de... En serio, con tanto de chuchingo de malo, podría cerrar mis puertas si quisiera y podría cerrar. Yeah, here you really hear it. Terrible. Anyway, that gets disqualified. But let's go over that for now. Let's not think too much about that, and let's just focus on doing things in order. I'm not really hearing any plosives, but if I just clear this, I'll Control F through it afterwards, or Control Z through it afterwards. Let's say I go pa pa pa. Terrible. I'm really sorry for people with headphones. I go, pa, pa, pa. I don't know why I sound so... I sound like a dead cat here. Terrible. Anyway, this is doomed. If your plosives are that strong, please restart. But if not, I do think I have an equalization tool that can take care of these plosives. And I would just highlight where the waveform is breaking. Let's say we do this one. Normally, the waveform should be consistent, but it's not here. I will also change this here. There we go. That way you can hear better. Well, you can see better what I'm about to do. I will go, where's my equalization tool? There we go. So this is unnamed, but I think if I go to P break, which is the last one I used, so that's why it didn't change. This is one that I created myself, based on just some YouTube tutorials. At around 400 hertz here, I am at 0 decibels, and I'm going all the way to minus 18 or minus 17 or so at 100. And this sort of kills a lot of those frequencies around that range that do cause these plosives. If I do that, you see how, if I just Control Z and Control Y continuously, it kind of brings the whole line back together. So I've taken care of a chunk of that plosive, and it's not peaking anymore either. You really hear that puff of air, and then it's a lot better. So that's what I recommend doing for plosives. The background noises here are mainly just mouth noises. So let's do another example. I don't know. There's some background noise here. I'm talking, and at the same time, someone's washing their hands. It's not great. I don't know. There's some background noise here. I'm talking, and at the same time, This looks kind of hilarious. I'm going to normalize, so this is how you normalize. I just go here, Effects, Normalize, and I click OK. And what it does is it just brings everything back up to a normal level so that we can hear properly. Background noise will look like this. You have all this garbage in the background. It's not good. I don't know. There's some background noise here. I'm talking, and at the same time, but you hear it really well here. So what you want to do is you want to go to where you hear that background noise, where it's isolated, so at a time when you're not speaking. All this, ugh. I don't know how well this is going to work, though, because it's quite close to the mic, and yeah. So let's go get a noise profile, and then click on noise removal again. Oh, look at that. It's all gone. Again, let's Control Z, Y, Z, Y. Not bad. I don't know. There's some background noise here. I'm talking, and at the same time, it's a lot less than it was. If I Z through that, I go Y again, it's much lower. And you can do it again. If you do it again, don't go through and do it a second time, because then you might pick up on some other frequencies and start to break your own audio form. I don't know. There's some background noise here. I'm talking, and it sounds a little bit more canny. If I had the headphones, I'd really hear the difference here. But if you have to do it again, just go and highlight whatever it is again and get a different noise profile, because the noise that's remaining will not be the exact same noise profile that you got the first time around. So let's go all the way back to the normal line. I don't really have too much noise, but this is me breathing, and it's part of the act, so not terrible. I'll just get this. If anything, this might pick up on my computer noise. There's a fan noise going on, it's quite low, but the microphone would still be picking something up here. So get the noise profile, click on the whole thing, noise removal, and there we go. Unfortunately for the peaking, there's not a whole lot you can do. If it peaks once, it's not the end of the world, but if your whole thing is peaking, that's very problematic. What I could do here to remove the peaking is go through the equalization tool and change that up completely, but that's a bit more advanced. I could maybe try to go into amplify and reduce, have a little, well actually that's terribly low. Let's say, well, minus 5 decibels is going to completely destroy that. Let's say a minus 2. Yeah. It's not peaking anymore in terms of peaking through your own headphones, but it'll still sound peaked because the actual waveform has not changed really. I've just kind of squished it down and reduced the volume on it. So the disruption caused by the peaking the first time around will still come through. So this is just something you'll figure out. If you're recording something and you're hitting the edge of the screen here, or the edge of the box, you are peaking. So in that case, let's actually do another test here. Let's say I'm talking quite loudly. That's a terrible peak. Let's say I'm talking quite loudly. You really hear that. But what I can do is I can go and reduce my own gain. Actually, I won't do that now. I'll do it through Audacity. That way it makes more sense. Playback volume. Let's go minus, so let's go to 0.6. And let's say I'm talking quite loudly. And let's say I'm talking quite loudly. So now this whole thing did not hit the edge. It didn't peak through the microphone. I can go in Effects, Normalize. Bring it all the way back up, and now you don't have that same problem that you had the first time around. If you're doing a longer take, then you just want to adjust, maybe by having more distance with the microphone or doing things a little bit differently, or adjusting dynamically. Or just recording at a lower level and then amplifying the little parts and doing all that equalization and normalization yourself, which takes a bit longer. Let's say this is static. Those mouth noises, I'll consider that static here. Let's say that's static. It's not, but we have all of this here. We don't want that. What we could do, if it's not breaking things too much, let's just kill a single one of them. I'm going to highlight this. Let us imagine that this is static. Here, if I generate silence through this, it'll completely kill that. But it might create static on the edges here, before and after. So I'm going to highlight, remember the position of that first box there that you grayed out, and I'm going to highlight before it, and I'm going to fade out so that it rounds off the edge here. And then I'll go to the edge of where that box was and fade in. And this makes sure that you don't have, you don't take out static and create 2 bits of static instead. Because if you modify the audio at all and the audio jumps, you can have a sort of static or prick of static that comes from that. This sort of smooths things out, and you can do this individually for all of these ones. Or if you only have a group of static pops, you can just delete all that. But typically, if you have this much static, then your audio is quite garbage to begin with. Let's do the cutting before and after. Now this here, let's say that's my, I really hear the audio, it's terrible. It's quite terrible, the echo here. I want to remove this, so I'm just going to delete. Hit the delete key on my keyboard. If you have a Mac, it might be different. I don't know how those things work. I don't mind a little bit of space at the end. This is fine. If you cut all the way here, let's say, you will create static at the very end because you'll clip the audio. If you're not too sure, you can then just take the end and just go until you start to hit a little bit of the waveform, and then you can fade that out. Don't fade out through the audio, but if you fade out through the final tiny bit, that's okay. This at least ensures that you don't have a prick of static at the very end when the audio ends. Same thing with the beginning. I don't want as much dead space in the beginning, but because typically if I put a line, it's because I want it to start when the audio is set. So I will go and delete that. So is this recorded on mono? Yes, you can check here, mono or stereo. Stereo just means, if I'm killing this, that I'm recording like this. It's not the end of the world if you are properly balanced, but if you have any sort of issue where you're only recording on the left side or the right side, then one won't show up and you'll have terrible audio. To eliminate that, and just because Ren'Py does not like stereo, we record in mono. And we export as a wave-signed 16-bit PCM. I have a lot of things here. Let's say, sure, I have these lines. I'll just record there. Wave Microsoft signed 16-bit PCM. There's 32-bit float PCM as well. It takes the file size is larger. It is higher quality, but Ren'Py cannot read it. So it has to be wave signed 16-bit PCM. This is A. We've got character name here. Victor. I'm not going to put the accent on the I just to be a bit quicker here. And then we have the take number here. So this is take number 1. There you go. I can edit the metadata as well. Artist name? Sure. Let's add Simia. The year? 2026. You don't have to do this. It really doesn't change too much. Comments. I love X Fighters. You can add whatever you want here. That's completely up to you, and it does not change too much. There you go. Now it's saved, and what you can do afterwards is you can group all those takes in a zip folder. And you can send it to info@shuhari.productions with the subject line brackets. So that means just replace it. Character name would be Victor XF Audition. All right. Well, thank you very much for auditioning. Feel free to audition for as many characters as you would like. Thank you for the support over the years on X Fighters. There's a lot more coming, but I hope this was helpful. If not, I'm terribly sorry, but hopefully I'll still see you next time. Yeah, don't do drugs. Do green tea, and stay tuned for more updates. They will come. They will come.